Welcome to our podcast TERRA Tech Talk Behind Humanitarian Aid. I am Lucas from TERRA Tech, and I'm presenting the second episode with Nico Katsouris and Joseph Ayamga. This podcast is released on the first Wednesday of every month. We reserve the right to change names in order to protect personal rights. And now I'll hand over to Nico and Joseph.
We had a lot of difficulties. We discussed it several times with TERRA Tech, and the beginning they were a bit skeptical whether it is going to work or it will not work, whether BMZ was going to accept it or not. And we kept on designing and redesigning, changing and deleting and adding. And at some point in time, we had to focus on just the school building. But as time went on, I kept on asking for more. The hostel was not there, the bus was not there, and the fence was not there, and the place was not secured. So I kept on asking for more, and at some point in time, it nearly strained the relationship between SEND and TERRA Tech. To them, they felt that we could have planned better. But I was on the ground, and I felt that if we put all of these things at one point in time, there was no way BMZ, and based on my studying here and understanding how they work, there was no way they will approve all of that infrastructure, whether there was a way to get them working in bits. So that was the thinking that we had. So we were able to plan for a school that was to accommodate maybe 150 to 500 children. They can stay in the school and they can be able to focus on these sciences. And there will be teachers, there will be computer labs, there will be laboratories, and to make sure that they focus on STEM education.
So is this a school where the pupils come or the students come on an everyday basis, or is it a boarding school?
It's a boarding school. They have hostels and they have everything is done inside the compound. So the activities are organized based on that. And that is how we named it Nyampui Senior Secondary School of Excellence. Nyampui in the Mende language in Sierra Leone means that a woman or a young girl. And since the school was focused on girls or young girls, we decided that the name should be Nyampui, meaning it is for the growth and development of young women in the sciences and all of that. So as of the time that we were finishing, we were able to admit about 131 girls at the time the project ended. And then a computer training center was also established for teachers. We trained over 3,000 teachers on computer literacy so that they can use some of the skills to plan their teaching content, organize their teaching content. Before that, most of them were using paper-based, and because of that, they were not able to organize their teaching activities very well. But now, those teachers who were able to benefit, if you go to their schools, you see them using the computer to organize their, lesson notes, academic calendar, and even management of academic results and all of that. So we felt that if we were able to get the teachers understanding the use of technology, they could also be able to transfer it to the children that they teach. And so we were able to get a funding support from TERRA Tech, BMZ, and SEN, because SEN also contributed in one way or the other.
Maybe we need to explain the name BMZ, German Ministry for Development and Cooperation. Yeah.
I think it's a German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. Yeah. Then, so after that project, we also implemented the Bond Island Fish Trading Project. This lasted from September 2021 to April 2024. So we had to train about 600 households in improved fishing methods because they were just using traditional methods of fishing. So after that, we were able to train them how to do that, what type of nets, how to manage the nets, where to obtain them, and how can they mobilize their own resources locally to be able to obtain that. Then as of the time we had completed the project, we were able to reach about 1,500 people who had entrepreneurship training. And when we did the evaluation, we found out that 90% of these 1,500 people that we train on entrepreneurship and business skills, they were using that to improve on their fish trade. And you see, some of them were actually doing the business of fishing. Others were providing the tools that will make fishing very effective. But others were also providing services that had to do with the preservation of the fish to ensure the quality of it, to enhance their marketing activities. Then what we also realized was the problem around that area. There was no community financial institution because it is an island. And the island development is so hard to reach there because it's not that easy to just go there with a car or something. You need to travel across the water. So infrastructure development is very low. So most businesses or financial institutions don't like going to those places. But since SEN has experience in working on financial inclusion, we established a credit union there, and then we provided a grant to the village saving of over 50 VSLA groups, village savings and loans groups. And they were revolving this grant among themselves. They use it to give loans. In a VSLA group, you have about 30 people in it. And they sit down on a monthly basis. They discuss whatever savings they have for that month, and they can accumulate all of that. If it is enough, they give loans to themselves. If it is not, they can take loan from this grant we have given them, and they give to people who needed loan for that particular day to do certain types of businesses. But what we also did, which is still a very high impact under the Bond Island Fish Trading Project, was the creation of the cold storage powered by solar. So this is a big cold storage. It has like a facility that can also produce water. It can also produce ice. But it also has a big storage place which is located to a nationally recognized market. So you have people traveling from the different districts to that place to do weekly market activities. So what happens is that they come to buy fish from there, and then they go back to different places across Sierra Leone to sell the fish, because Bond is an area known for fish. So what we did is to provide a storage place. So when people go there to buy fish and they don't have a place to preserve the fish, usually it gets spoiled.
And you have to sell right away for low price.
To sell it right away for low price, and because of that, some people got discouraged. But now with the existence of the cold storage, so many of them are not able. They bring it to the market, and if they don't get a better price for it, they only go and store it there at a minimal price. The next market day, they come and take it and sell. So they are not in a hurry to sell. So if you go there now, you will find out that there are a lot of women who are doing business around that. And those who don't want to store it there, they have like the ice facility. They can take the ice to their village in a cool manner, and they can be able to store the fish for maybe 2 to 3 days. Yeah, and those fishermen who go for like 2 days, 3 days into the ocean to fish, and they don't have a storage facility, they can take this ice along with them. So they're able to preserve the quality of the fish before they bring it to the market. So that investment has been very significant.
It's a very big improvement of the business.
So now, the last time we took it from January till was it April? We tried to assess the number of people who utilize services from January to April. We had over 3,115 local business women that had utilized the services there just within 4 months of the year. So by the end of the year, we want to do that kind of calculation to see how many people are utilizing the place, what type of business they do with the cold storage. But you can see that the institutionalization of the cold storage, plus having a grant system that revolves around the community people themselves, it gives them power. They can be able to take the loan from the VSLA group plus the revolving grant. They do whatever business that they want, and they pay it back based on the agreement they have as a group and all of that. And that makes that system work better because the power and decisions are made by them, and they're able to know who is not complying, and they even take the responsibility to hold themselves accountable, and it is no longer sent. So the impact that we have created together with TERRA in those, and also the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation, is to give them, one, the knowledge to be able to understand that it is possible to do it within their localities. Second, we help them to be organized. Third, we help them to institutionalize a system that lives within them, that they can go there, access whatever they want to access, but they can also contribute to the sustainability of the cold storage to make sure it serves them for a very long time. So these were some of the major highlights that Sen and TERRA had been working on, but there are other currently 3 projects that we have been implementing. One has to do with climate resilience. How do they, yesterday we had discussions around effective utilization of water. Yeah. Here you have access to water, but we don't know in Germany in the next 15 to 20 years whether the water system is going to be the same way. How do we utilize water well? In Sierra Leone, this is completely opposite. Some communities have low or limited access to water because they live in the rural areas. There are no boreholes, there are no water wells, or there is no government supply water system. So they rely on streams, and sometimes the streams get dry after 4 months. The rain comes for about 4 or 5 months. And when the rains dry, they struggle to get water. Sometimes they have to travel over 2 hours, 3 hours to fetch water and get back home. By the time they get back home, the whole day is finished. So they spend a lot of time looking for water. But even the existing water that they have in those boreholes, for the last 10 years, we have realized that those water wells or boreholes are drying up because of climate change. The situation is changing, the climate is changing, and the water table is draining. And so because of that, they find out that there comes a certain part of the year, the water is finished in the water well. So they think there is a problem with it. There's no problem. It's just because the environment is not well protected. The climate has changed, and that brings the water table down. So they have to dig deeper and deeper and deeper so they can be able to get water.
The problem gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, exactly. But so part of this project is how do we actually train them to understand that? What environmental factors can you consider to protect the existing water that you have, but also new ones that you develop? Can you find a way of managing it well, planting trees around, or planting climate sensitive agricultural activities? Instead of clearing a lot of land to be able to plant, can you use a small part of land so that you don't destroy all of the trees? But how do you manage that you get a better yield for some of the activities that, livelihood activities that you do? And part of this scheme is also, how do you help them to mobilize financial resources from their own communities based on their own business activities so that they can utilize this to invest on the water activities, to maintenance whatever existing water facilities that they have in the communities? Or when the water facilities are not actually working, how do they finance community collective resources to be able to take care of it instead of waiting for the government or other people to come and do it? So we are embarking on that climate wars activities, but also a way of educating people on how to rely on their own resources and opportunities to create resources that can help them to protect their water bodies, water sources, but also to think about the environment anytime they are trying to undertake work activities. The other thing that we've been doing also with TerraTech is we have a project that supports women's economic empowerment and climate resilience. So we give them access to finance, but they have to engage in businesses that don't harm the environment. So we work with them to have like solar, to have grants that they do business, but they use the profits from these grants to utilize solar kiosks that we created in their communities, that they can use it for cooling, they can use it for whatever business that they are doing, but they also pay a little so that they don't have to utilize some of these local energy sources like coal, charcoal, and all of those things that lead to the felling of trees. And that makes the environment not friendly at all to us in the future. So we have been implementing that project for the past 1 year now. And recently, we found out that most of the schools, why children perform so poorly, is because they don't eat well. And the school authorities don't have any plans to work with the parents and the government to initiate school feeding program. So one of the projects we are working on is we're working with about 6 schools. How do they embark on sustainable agricultural activities that they can produce their own food? They can use that to feed the children who come to the school without having to rely on government or NGOs to do it for them. That project is not yet up to a year of implementation, but it's promising because the schools now have that understanding that, well, we have the environment, we have the land. We just have to use that land responsibly. We can get the food that we want because we can grow cassava, we can grow rice, we can grow vegetables, anything, or rare animals, to make sure that we are able to obtain the various nutrients that we want for our children so that they can be able to do well. So those are the existing projects that we still have. About 3 of them are still ongoing. And we hope that as we go along, we would try to learn from the good lessons from this project, but improve on areas where we see weaknesses to make sure that we continue to do more for people who don't have a lot of options in Sierra Leone.
Well, you gave us really deep insight into the story of Sierra Leone, about the story of SEND, the projects we did. I think there are even more than we talked about right now, but you gave us a deep insight of the SEND work. And you are a wonderful interview partner. It was so simple for me. I just need to listen. And thank you very much for the time you spent with me here performing this podcast, which you did mainly on your own. And goodbye to you. Good safe trip home to Sierra Leone. Good stay in Germany. And hope to see you soon again. Maybe another podcast. We don't know. We will see. And goodbye to our listeners. And hope to see and hear you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate this podcast interview so much. And to the people who have been supporting TerraTech for a very long time, I want to share with you that, the world is going in a certain direction right now, but there are always positive things that we can continue to do. And one of those things I would like to share with you is, if your help can help someone to take themselves out of poverty, or to think well, and also to grow well, and to develop well, and to support responsible development in their countries across the globe, it is a collective benefit for everyone. And we want to continue to express our gratitude, especially to TerraTech, the staff, the leadership, the management, and the board who have been working day and night to mobilize resources to support some of these development initiatives. Sometimes it's very hard to be able to mobilize the resources to convince people about the motive behind these things. But the fact that they have that determination, and that is what is also leading to the results, because for us in Sierra Leone, we feel that we have a responsibility to also make sure that resources are utilized well and that there is results for what we do. And we want to be able to use this as an opportunity to be motivated, but we want to say thank you for everything that you have been doing. And I would like to say it in German. Danke, danke schön.
Du bist herzlich willkommen. Vielen Dank. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest and attention. Please send any tips or suggestions to the following email address: podcast@terratech-ngo.de. Would you like to get involved? Then take a look at our website www.terratech-ngo.de. Thank you very much. See you next time.